5 unrealistic expectations you have about your marriage. Hi friends, welcome to Marriage Realities, a comprehensive relationship channel. Today's video is all about the unrealistic expectations most couples have about their marriage. A marriage without expectations does not exist for any couples. It is the same for you also. You too have many dreams about your marriage. It is only natural. But the main mistake you make is you have unrealistic dreams about your marriage. When your dreams about your marriage is unrealistic, it's only to be expected that it will not happen in reality. When your dreams do not happen in your marriage, you assume that you have made a wrong choice in marrying your spouse. How wrong can you be? When you visualize your married life according to a wild romantic imagination, you deviate from reality and step into a fantasy world of only good things and happy things happening in your relationship. This is a mistake you should not make, but which you consistently make. It is a harsh truth that unrealistic expectations and rosy dreams play the villain in destroying your marriage. What exactly are the unrealistic expectations you have about your marriage? Shall we have a peep into it? The number one unrealistic expectation you have about your marriage is that your love days would continue forever. Most of you dream that the feel of your love days will be a permanent feature even after your marriage. You feel that your spouse would be as lovey-dovey as he or she was before your marriage. My spouse will be as loving as he or she is now. You literally fly in the sky in blissful happiness when you marry a spouse. Your dream of a perfect marriage skyrocket as you walk down the aisle. Nothing could go wrong between us. Our love for each other will remain the same. I'm lucky to be marrying the perfect man or woman of my life. Such romantic daydreams fill your heart. You're emotional when you utter your marriage vows. Your initial married life proves you right. You just cannot have enough of each other. You dream that nothing will change between you. But you're in for a shock. After a few years of married life, you feel rather dissatisfied with your spouse. You feel that your spouse is not as perfect as you thought him or her to be. Your spouse too has many disappointments about you. When your unrealistic dreams about your spouse does not happen in your married life, you feel lost and confused that you might have married a person not at all suited to you. It is really sad that you have not understood your marriage in its right perspective. The frenzied love you had for each other before your marriage will not exist between you after your marriage. But your love will take a different form. A very practical and mature form. Yes. Your frenzied love will transform into mature love. After your marriage, the love between you will become mature and mellow, and so all the more genuine. This is one unrealistic expectation that never materializes in your marriage. The number 2 unrealistic expectation you have about your marriage is money will not be an issue between you. Before marriage, you have all sort of idealistic dreams that money would never become a relationship issue with your spouse. Whatever money I earn is only for my spouse. So there will be no arguments between us about money. You are dead sure that there will be no financial differences between you. But after your marriage, money becomes the main reason why you argue with your spouse. You argue with your spouse that there's no enough money for the family. You argue that your spouse is fleecing you of your hard-earned money. You argue with your spouse about sharing family's financial commitments. You become very conscious about the money you spend for your spouse. And the different ways both handle your money makes you lock horns with your spouse. You do not see eye to eye with your spouse in money matters. You're taken aback when most of your arguments with your spouse is about money. You never for once dream that you'd have such consistent fights with your spouse about money. Can you feel yet another of your idealistic dreams about your marriage becoming non-existent? The number 3 unrealistic expectation you have about your marriage is your spouse will always attract you. Before marriage, you're attracted to your spouse in many ways. You feel that your spouse is beautiful or handsome. You feel that your spouse is knowledgeable and interesting. But after your marriage, you feel that your spouse has filthy habits and that he or she is not that attractive to you. You also feel that your spouse is not as brainy as you thought him or her to be. You're stunned when physical attraction between you dies a slow death. Your sex life no longer excites you. And when your spouse let go his or her appearance after marriage, it's the final nail in the physical attraction between you. Yet another unrealistic dream of eternal attraction between you comes to an end. The number 4 unrealistic expectation you have about your marriage is that your spouse will always make you happy. Before your marriage, you build all sorts of dreams about a happy and fulfilled relationship with your spouse. Your spouse makes you that dizzy with happiness before your marriage. Your spouse makes you laugh a lot. Your spouse is very humorous. When you're downcast, your spouse spontaneously cheers you up. Your spouse is unconditionally appreciative. Naturally, you build all your happiness around your spouse. Mind you, all these things happen before your marriage. But after your marriage, your dreams that your spouse will make you happy comes crashing down. Your spouse is not as humorous as he or she was before marriage. After marriage, your spouse is not bothered when you're downcast. In fact, many a time your spouse makes you very unhappy by not interacting with you with love. And you're astonished when this idealistic dream of your spouse making you happy also bids goodbye. The number 5 unrealistic expectation of your marriage is you expect your spouse to spend all his or her free time with you. You like to spend all your free time with your spouse before your marriage. And your spouse also seems to enjoy spending time with you. Both keep talking excitedly for hours together. You have so much to talk with your spouse and you have so much to laugh with him or her. And you expect the same scenario of enjoying your time together to continue after your marriage also. But strangely, after your marriage, both do not spend that much time together. And your time together always meant watching TV or being in the same room, nothing to feel romantic about. There is no more interesting interaction between you. Everything about your relationship becomes too mundane and too dull for your liking. You're bewildered when yet another of your unrealistic dream vanishes into the thin air. You wonder why none of your expectations happen in your married life, don't you? It is because all your expectations were dreamy and unachievable. There is no fairy tale married life for any couple. Your married life too will not be as dreamy and idealistic as you dreamed it to be. On the contrary, your relationship with your spouse will be realistic and true to life. So, forego your dreamy expectations about your marriage. This is the only way to lead a happy and content married life with your spouse. Did this video make you understand that your unrealistic expectations about your married life will never happen? Marriage Realities will have many such relationship eye-openers. Subscribe to my channel to understand your marriage in a new light. Press the bell icon for updates about my latest relationship videos. Make love forever until death do us part your relationship goal.